Yes, hello and welcome to the Knock On, KCLR and Scoreline.ie's weekly rugby podcast. Joined this week by James Blanchfield and Johnny Tobin. Good evening, men.
Good
How are
evening,
you, Stephen?
Stephen.
Good evening, Stephen.
Hello from the Kilkenny office. It's like the Eurovision.
Johnny Tobin, you're looking wonderful.
Thanks, James. Same to you.
No panic at all. Well, I always look well, though.
It's fair to see you, yeah. It's fair to you.
Lads, tons to talk about. The Leinster League is up and running. A couple of first home games for the season for Carlow and Tullow weekend. A bit of a mixed start, I suppose, to the season. We're going to talk about Leinster against Ulster, other provincial games, and the Merged Ireland team has been named for their game this weekend as well. We'll talk about all that. But obviously cover the local stuff first. Johnny, I'm going to start with you this week and Tullow.
Oh, my God.
Defeat to Wicklow last weekend. Wicklow, we know, Johnny, from experience anyway, and games in the past are a hard side to beat away.
Yeah, well,
at home as well.
I just throw it out. A losing bonus point in Wicklow is no easy thing to get, and I think we're very, very happy with it, to be honest with you. A very young Tullow side up in Wicklow. Maybe experience, maybe played a bit of part to close out the game. We were 20 points to 11 up with 10 minutes left. But look, that's the nature of the beast, the way it goes. But really, really positive. Some young lads got blooded into the first team. Jamie Cooper back from America playing. Adam Johnson back playing after football is over. So, all in all, really, really good. Really, really positive. And then, I suppose, the irony of Tullow is last week we didn't have enough forwards to make seconds. So, this first time in a long, long time. But we won't have that problem this weekend, thankfully. So, yeah, pretty happy with a losing bonus point in Wicklow. And James will tell you, Wicklow is no easy place to go to and come out with any sort of a result.
Never ever has been an easy place to go. There's something about once they get you up onto that top pitch, they don't stop. And the Wicklow crowd as well, like there's a massive crowd there, but the Wicklow crowd make themselves known. Like they just, they sometimes it strikes me there's a chip on their shoulder. They feel everyone hates them, and they just, and I mean that in the best sense of the word. They use that to their advantage. Like they're a really well supported club.
No, they are now, and they're incredible. And I know we mentioned it already last week, but the gate brought in €905. And Wicklow rounded it up to 1,000 and donated the €1,000 to Melanie Griffith's fund. So incredible nice stuff by them. Yeah, incredible stuff. But all in all, like in general in rugby we played some nice stuff. Which is surprising because we're kind of still gelling together with the youth coming in. It was exciting to watch that back line again, like I said, with Jamie Cooper, Adam Johnson, Jack Hanlon, Jack Johnson. They're all under the age of 21. So there's 4 backs under the age of 21 in an opening Division 1B game against Wicklow in Wicklow. And not an overly bad result, to be honest. But all road now to the Black Gates' first home game of the year against Mullingar. Won't be easy. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder after a loss to Carlow last week. But I think we're in a good place. I don't want to jinx anything, but I'd say it'll be a positive day for us Sunday. We will feel a second team this week. So lads have been training, seconds players have been training. So yeah, all looking good for this Sunday.
Good stuff. And a lot of your lads coming back now, Johnny, because the Carlow football season is wrapping up now. So obviously there's more heads popping up at training, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Michael and Kildare and Donegal are in the intermediate final. So a few lads wrapped up there. But sure, that's over this weekend. And we'll get a few more back, a couple more young lads to come back. Cormac Nolan, etc. But yeah, no, it's positive now because we've got at least, I'd say, 12 lads back since last week. And that's really positive for this weekend.
Absolutely.
Johnny, you're going to have numbers.
Yeah. Jeez,
to have more people there, like, I mean, it just makes things so much easier for coaches to have numbers there, and you're not panicking then to say, well, the 3 best lads on the seconds team, you have to take them off at half time because they have to sub for the firsts.
And we've done that for long enough.
Small pebbles make big ripples. Like so do we. Now, luckily at the moment we don't, but small pebbles make big ripples. That actually gives the second teams an opportunity to get continuity, and they're not losing those 3 key players at half time, and then they're suffering in the second half.
Absolutely.
It's great.
But you know what's really positive for this weekend is generally when we put out a second team at this time of the year, and I put my hands up, I'm one of them. The old kind of fellas come back and tog out for a game or two to lighten the storm a bit. But this week we've all young lads going playing. Like we've 25-year-olds, 26-year-olds. Don't know a lad who's past it, or 60-year-olds or 40-year-olds, or we have a good young second team going to go out this weekend, which is really positive again. So, and look, we have the inclusion then of the new gym facilities after going in there this week. It's currently being done. That's €28,000 worth of equipment going into the gym this week. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, that was great. I seen Sean O'Brien was flogging some gym gear there.
Anyone wants to give Sean a shout there, we still have some left.
You need a few bits, James or Tom Crotty or.
We're heavily stocked in that department now.
But it's good. Like it's just really progressive at the moment, and like a lot of our youth teams are going really well. I have to give a mention to our under 18s last week, and an incredible win against Enniscorthy. It was an incredible match to watch. It was actually out at some really, really nice rugby being played by that team, and that's again another positive notch in the belt that they're able to put out such a performance. I think it was 67-15 or something. Wow. Just continuation of just Peter Burgess and Adam Burgess, they're twins, and I know we would have talked about Peter Burgess a good bit from playing Leinster youth, etc. But his twin brother Adam is very, very good player. Sometimes doesn't get as much notoriety as he should, but he had an incredible game last week, and they were just so good. It's just so good to watch.
Excellent stuff, Johnny. Things going well. Johnny, we'll let you rest your voice. You're a bit under pressure there. No, there's plenty of doses doing the rounds at the moment. We'll
anyone know a good vet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Put me down.
We're going to
I'd say there's a queue of lads.
James, we'll move on to Kilkenny. We'll talk about Carlow briefly as well after Kilkenny. You've Bective coming to town this weekend. You lost to Suttonians last weekend as well. Tell us about the Suttonians game.
Yeah, a mixed day. Just look at a mixed day. The seconds had what can only be described as a monumental 24 points to 0 win. Suttonians actually looked for the game to be blown up 10 minutes early. That's like, people might say, geez, we're getting excited about a seconds win. First thing is first, our seconds put out a fully autonomous seconds team. There was no crossover into the first. That's the first thing. The second thing is they managed to do that on the road to go to Dublin. And the third thing is they managed to beat Suttonians on their own patch. Like there's three significant, I should say, milestones there for the seconds team, and it's something for them to build on. They threw the game away the previous week against Ashbourne. They should have won it. Now they have their first win of the season under their belt. Cannot be underestimated for Kilkenny Rugby Club, the importance of that seconds win and just the way it was done. Now, albeit Suttonians picked up 6 injuries during the game, lads had to go off, they brought in subs. That's the game of rugby, it happens, it's a physical game. But huge for the seconds to get that win under their belt with what is a team similar to what Johnny mentioned, a team of young fellas coming through that have come through the club. So, I'm rattling on every week about a pair of twins, the Kenny twins from Castlecomer. These boys are class, like they're just raw rugby players to go out and play the game. Young Kieran Galvin is back. Darren Morrissey, who's been knocking around a good few years. Tom Nugent, Brian McDonald, Ned Devlin, Aaron Askins. All these young fellas are back and doing really well with the seconds. So, that's monumental for the club. Both teams, first and seconds, got a bad start to the day on that tragic accident up in Kilcullen, which, look at, tragedy for everybody. He's the young fella that was killed in the accident was actually from Thomastown, which we didn't know at the time, but it just made the logistics of the day. It took some guys 5 hours to get to Sutton from Kilkenny. Both games had to be pushed back. there was lads arriving for the first game who were arriving 20-25 minutes before the game was to start. So it was great for the seconds to do that, but the traffic impacted the first as well and pushed the game back. However, they had a disastrous start against us, the Suttonians. Jake put in a great kick to the corner, didn't hit touch, counter-attack straight down the field. Suttonians scored after 45 seconds. We replied with our own try a couple of minutes later. And I didn't make it up, but I was watching the video of it. And look at it, it just seemed like a day where we were slow out of the blocks. It seemed like a day where we were falling off tackles, that our defensive sets weren't right. Not going to speak about players being missing because that's no excuse. There was still a very good team on the pitch. The lads have to bounce back this weekend, and it's going to be a tough ask against Bective. They've gone 2 from 2 now. They're top of the league. I think they're up there on 9 points. They beat Monkstown first day out in the last play of the game. Can't remember who they beat last week, but Bective are coming down. They have a chip on their shoulder after not getting promoted to senior rugby last year. We're constantly saying it on our own WhatsApp group between the four of us that Bective will want to go senior this year. There's no doubt about it. And they're coming down to us this Saturday with an agenda. I'd say they're looking to come, and they're probably looking to leave Kilkenny with 5 points, the truth be told. They will get that if we give them respect, if we're slow at the start, which has been, I suppose, a continuous problem for Kilkenny over the last couple of seasons, is that we have been slow to start. And we've been giving teams too much leverage or too much rope, whatever we want to call it, early in a game, and then we're leaving ourselves too much to do later in a game. That's what happened last week. Mm-hmm. There are a few players back. Dame O'Leary will be back this week. Podge couldn't play last week because he was out with COVID. Podge is probably our go-to man in the backs, just to he plays very well off Joe's shoulder. Joe creates a gap, Podge will go through it. So, look, there's a few bits and pieces going right. Jake Prattley's still not back. I believe he's back. He's back next week. 1 or 2 other bits and pieces we're looking to come in our favour. But this Saturday, we're going to need absolutely everything to go in our way. The lads will have to arrive switched on. They'll have to hit the pitch switched on. They'll have to get their defensive right from the very, very beginning. Their set piece is going to have to be good. Their scrum line out, their work rate around the pitch is going to have to be good against what is, I would kind of say, a team of very well assembled team of Bective guys that have been come down, that have been recruited by Bective to get Bective over the last 2 seasons by Byrne and Jackman and others, brought players into Bective to get them back senior, and that's their objective, and that's what they're going to do this year. I thought they'd do it last year, but I would say they'll do it this year, and they're on that mission to do it. So look, we're going to have to start well Saturday to beat them. But aside from the rugby this weekend, there's a big day in the club on Saturday. John Robinson, the president of the IRFU, is down. Debbie Carty, president of Leinster, is up from Wexford. Corey's mum. We have an official opening of the new facilities in the club this Saturday. So there's a kind of a big day in the club. I think there's 60 or 70 people invited to a pre-match lunch. So that's going to be a good day. A few ex-internationals coming. Ian Dowling is coming back up to the club. We'll roll out the red carpet for him. First time we'll see him in a long time in Fookstown. I suppose he is living in Limerick now. To in his defence, and all of our sponsors and anyone else who helped out with the dressing room development and the grounds improvements is going to be attending too. So we're asking everybody to come out and watch the match, support the team, but equally as important, we're asking everyone to stick around the bar that night as well. There's going to be a few other rewards that evening after the game as well. So if everyone wants to come out, stick around, have a few pints, or if you're driving, have a few glasses of sparkling water, my buddy, whatever you want. But it's important that people that have disengaged with the club over the last few years get themselves back out and re-engage, because sure that we need everyone to support the club,
Absolutely. Well, the seconds match, of course, as normal, is going off at 1:30, and the first match is 3. So if you're up around 1:45 or so, James, have a look at everything. And
the official opening of the dressing room, I think, is at 12:45, so 1:45, and then head across to watch the seconds game or in for lunch, whatever way it's going.
Absolutely, and the very best of luck with that as well. Great to get an update from Kilkenny, and good luck in that match at the weekend. We're going to have to talk about Carlow in the absence of Tom the Baker. He's getting dolled up for a do tonight, so we won't interrupt his makeup. And
it won't be long doing his hair anyway.
No.
Same as myself.
Absolutely. Johnny, following it briefly myself and read the reports and everything, Carlow got the win over Mullingar last weekend, which was good going, but they have a different proposition in Athy this week, and the match, of course, is brought forward to Saturday night as well. Handy only being over the road as well, I suppose.
Yeah, it's ideal, and most clubs tied to each other should be doing them kind of things, give lads a Sunday off, to be fair. I was chatting to Corey on Monday. He said a win is a win. Mullingar kind of frustrated him a little bit in the latter stages. It was 22-6 with a couple of minutes left. That's what Mullingar do. They're never over until the final whistle, unfortunately for us this weekend. But that's them. But I think Carlow are going to be up against it on Saturday. Both in first and seconds.
What is it about a tie, do you think, Johnny? That
I think they have an edge. They're after coming up from Division 2A. They're bringing a little bit of difference to the league. There's no fear. There's a lot of confidence. They're very good backline, very young, explosive backline. Some guys in that, like Kieran Fennessy at fullback, he's an exceptional player. And then you have Craig Miller at 10. He's not young, but he's very well experienced.
Leinster Junior 10 last year,
Yeah, look, he's an incredible player. He's played senior rugby at Wesley. He came back to Athy 2 seasons ago after COVID. He was instrumental in promotion this year, and there's actually real confidence up there. I know a good few lads up there. They're looking to do double promotion. That's their aim. Their aim is to get up to 1A from 2A in 2 seasons.
Do they have the pack for it? This is what I like. Everyone out there is saying, Johnny, Athy, brilliant backline, but their pack mightn't be good
their
enough
pack
to
is
support
average.
That backline.
Their pack is average. It wouldn't be the most physical in Division 1B. It wouldn't be I wouldn't say the sharpest, but it wouldn't be the most experienced. And at Division 1B and 1A, you have to be cute at the set piece. You have to be cute with the line out. You have to be cute at the scrum. In 2A and 2B, not so much. It's more raw power, maybe, and brute ignorance as well. But I just don't think they have the quality of player in the pack. I could be wrong. I don't want to speak too much because we've still to play them. But yeah, look, listen, if they can resource the ball for 2 or 3 phases that the backs can play with, it doesn't matter really how good they are at set piece if they can hold their own.
I know I'm thinking kind of wishful thinking and all, but it would be great if you could see in 2 or 3 seasons that in Division 1B, if you had Kilkenny, Tullow, Carlow, Athy and Gorey all up in 1A. All up in 1A, wouldn't it be great?
That'd be phenomenal. It would be, yeah. If you could see that in 3 seasons' time. But we have to be realistic too. Do I think Athy get promoted this year? I don't. I still think Wicklow are hard favourites to gain promotion. But look, it's the nature of the beast. We'll tell more on Saturday evening when they play Carlow.
Yeah, I'd love to get up to it. I actually thought it was on Sunday, and if it was on Sunday, I was planning to go up to it. But I'll be having a few pints in Foodstown on Saturday, so I won't get to Carlow.
We'll be moving Sunday.
Unless you get your driver to drop you up, James.
Sponsored by Modubuild.
Yeah. Well, my driver, unfortunately, will be out having a few drinks with her friends as well. So
she's well earned.
Well earned, yeah. So that's under lights on Saturday night. So in Oak Park,
to be fair, that'd be a cracker of a game to go to.
You were mentioning just an edge there earlier on, John. If I've watched Carlow play, we played him in the Cup quarter final last year, and we played him in the South East League a few weeks ago. I disagree with you. I think Carlow have a fierce edge to them. I think Carlow, if you look at Ross Ellams and Wise and the Byrnes and these guys, they're the McDermott brothers. They're hardy lads. Like, they will not. Like, I think they have a serious tough edge to them, Carlow.
No, Johnny.
I know.
I I missed it. But no, listen, I never said Carlow don't have an edge. I know they're very, very good. And you named some really good rugby players there, but I just think Athy will be on the more confident side of things. And especially after getting a win against Dundalk, who just came down from 1A.
Yeah.
Like, be it as it may, Dundalk wouldn't be the Dundalk of old. That doesn't matter. It's a win against a 1A team who are only after coming down, they're only after going up. They will. That would have been seen as high on confidence.
Yeah, that would have been seen as going into that game. There was a clear favourite, and that was that. And the favourite was Dundalk.
We're going to walk that by 20 points.
You know. Now, apparently,
we played Dundalk.
Pardon?
We played Dundalk in the cup last year. I thought Dundalk would beat Athy by 20 points.
They should have beaten us, and like realistically, they could have beaten us in the cup semi-final last year in Naas. You know, they were a held up drive from beating us. You know, now I've done a bit of digging on Dundalk this week and just kind of asked around what's going on. I believe they have lost a cohort of players from last year's team. A cohort of lads have retired. The age profile of their team last year was high, so I think a few lads couldn't be coaxed back into it this year.
Well, actually, I was chatting to Ray McCabe earlier in the week. He used to play out half for them last year. He said he's 37 years of age. He's finished. He's not coming back. So he'd be a big loss.
Yeah, and after a loss in a Towns Cup final as well, it'll be hard to go back to the well, especially when you're a bit older, like face into it again. Lads, move on to from local stuff on to Leinster against Ulster. Just going to throw the team up on the screen there. Another strong team for an Interpro. That's Friday night, 7:35. Johnny Sexton's on the bench. Pretty incredible bench as well. I suppose briefly, will we just touch back on last weekend against Benetton? What did you make of the game? Did you see it?
I didn't, but they did lay down their marker, to be fair.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
They done everything we said they were going to do.
That's it. You know, but like you were saying there, Stephen, strong team. I think it's become the norm for Leinster that there's no weak Leinster team anymore. You know, at this stage of the season, there's no weak Leinster team. Like, I mean, they have a squad that's the depth that they have is just unbelievable. Like, you know, so I don't think there's ever going to be a weak Leinster 15, and for that a weak Leinster 22 that comes out.
It's great to see Jack Honan back playing. First game of the year.
You know,
hopefully he has a big game now.
Yeah, he lost his way a bit last year.
He did. I think he had a bit of a post kind of Lions tour hangover, whatever it might have been.
He could have been burned out.
That's it. Like, I mean, remember, he came from nothing. He came from being injured to being the starting aide for the Lions. He had a long season the season before, straight in, back into a full season. You know, hopefully he'll be back to his best. But I think just a comment on kind of our discussions around Jason Jenkins, his value to Leinster is already clear. You're on mute, Stephen.
He's the big power.
Leaving a voice message there for someone.
All right. I thought you were talking to us.
No.
His value, like he could be that Nathan Hines, Brad Thorne kind of player that Leinster have been lacking. Just a hard bastard. You know, the hard bastard that Leinster need.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can say what you like, James.
Sometimes gets me in trouble, Johnny.
Me too.
Yeah, some really good stuff in there. Good to see Ed Byrne on the bench, of course, from a local point of view.
I feel sorry for Frawley, though. You know, I mean...
Yeah, injury.
You know, albeit, I think when Frawley went off last week, I think Byrne came on, and I think Byrne probably had a better 40 than second 40 than Frawley had an opening 40. He made a difference when he came in, like...
Yeah, very steady as well.
Yeah.
You know... Yeah, I don't know how to read into that, like in terms of, you know, against the backdrop of this Irish 10 sort of thing. But I like it. Frawley had a good old game for the bits that he was on. You know, a lot of ball carrying, a lot of, you know, putting lads into space and everything like that. Sort of the Johnny Sexton stuff. I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a big season for Jimmy O'Brien.
On the 10, are we missing something on the 10? Like we're saying there, like Ross Byrne is like Johnny Sexton, Kieran Frawley's like Johnny Sexton.
I don't think Ross is like Johnny Sexton.
He's not much different now, to be honest.
If you the great battles of transitions in Irish 10. You had freaking Tony Ward into, and move forward. Then you had the Humphreys versus O'Gara debate, O'Gara versus Sexton debate. We've always had kind of two world-class 10s battling it out for one another as internationally. At the moment, I'm not seeing, and I know everyone's talking about Frawley, we're not seeing that battle. We're not seeing that battle for two fellas or one fella coming in to do what Johnny Sexton did to Ronan O'Gara back in 2007 or 8 and say, I'm here to take your jersey off you. That's not happening. There's no that. I think that's a major worry for Irish rugby going forward.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, we're not seeing, like, when the Sexton stepped in 09-10 and took the jersey from O'Gara, he was a different animal.
Yeah,
he was a different animal. Like, O'Gara brought the kicking game and the controlling game, where Sexton brought an attacking game with a kicking game. Yeah. So there's nobody behind Sexton that offers that different or better.
And if you go back to when Carberry left Leinster, right, and went down to Munster, the first time Leinster played Munster after that, down in Thomond Park, there was a bit of a fracas down under the stand. And Sexton made it his business to get his hands on Carberry and give him a dressing down and have a cut at him and still let him know, I'm the boss here. None of the things that we have at the moment, be it Frawley, be it Ross Byrne, be it Harry Byrne, be it the two boys below in Limerick or the boys up in Ulster, none of them have that edge that Sexton had about him when Sexton was coming onto the scene. I think that's a big worry.
Can you imagine him roaring at Johnny like?
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
No. Johnny would tell him where to go fairly sharp.
And I think that's the current generation of people, of young fellas that we're seeing in sport. They might be just lacking that little edge in ways, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I
agree with you.
Yeah. But on that Leinster thing, again, I know I keep saying strong team, but that's it's become par for the course now for Leinster. But great to see those teams coming out. Yeah, look at
the centre pairing. The centre pairing is the Irish first choice pairing. Great to see Dave Kearney back.
Yeah, it is, and he's doing well. And you touched on it there, James, I think, before we cut you off. Jimmy O'Brien's going to have a big year.
Big year. It's an important year for Jimmy O'Brien. Coming into a World Cup cycle, there's going to be then kind of, I always say you're looking at 2027, there's going to be kind of a transition for 2027 as well. And he needs to put his hand up this year to make sure that going into not this World Cup, but the following World Cup, that he is front and centre of any discussions that's been had around an outside back's position.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and he's up against one of the best, unfortunately, in Hugo Keenan.
Yeah, more consistent and good, and never puts a foot wrong, and still under the radar, if that makes sense. If it's not a contradiction.
He's very much still under the radar.
Yeah.
Someone recently tried to compare Hugo Keenan with Garvin Dempsey. I was kind of saying two totally different rugby players, which the guy who was said, look at them for consistency and reliability. They'll never let you down.
Yeah, absolutely. The Ulster team is out there, lads. Anything of note in that would worry you if you're a Leinster fan?
I would be looking at McCluskey. McCluskey now has an opportunity here because Bundy's after getting an 8-week suspension, and there's been an awful lot in the news about McCluskey this past week as to why he's not getting a look for Ireland. He has to put his hand up in this game and tell Andy Farrell, hey mate, I'm the show in town here to take over from Bundy while he's away. Give me a shot.
Yeah, and it's not beyond the bounds of possibilities. Having a good start to the season. Billy Byrne's still in 10 there. Anyway, that's the norm. John Cooney, of course, back. And sort of, there's nothing really particularly stands out, I suppose, in terms of the other players' name. Like, that's your typical sort of Ulster side. How do you see it going up in Kingspan, lads?
I think it's hard to see anything but a Leinster win.
Yeah, I'd see a Leinster win now, but I'm looking at the back line here. I'm actually very excited about everyone outside of Billy Burns, because I don't think Billy Burns is a J1 player, but that's my opinion anyway. Jacob Stockdale and Aaron Sexton on the wings.
But you see, Johnny, he's not allowed to play J1 for 2 years.
Yeah, true.
No comment. Aaron Sexton's incredible. I think he's really, really good player. Mike Lowry at fullback, very, very good. I think from 11 to 15, that Ulster backline is pretty strong. To be fair, I know they're going up against probably a world-class centre partnership in Henshaw and Ringrose, but I think McCluskey's going to cause trouble, to be honest with you.
He's a beast.
I really do. He's a serious ball carrier.
Like was it Jonathan Davis that he just went over like he wasn't there the weekend? Like,
yeah,
you know,
and Jonathan Davies as well, of all people.
You know,
incredible stuff.
I think one thing you'll always get off Ulster in the Kingspan or Ravenhill, whatever we call it, is like they're an immensely well supported team. They just play a really good brand of rugby. They never give up. We're kind of actually say Munster supporters, don't kill me. I kind of won myself, but I think
second team.
They are the second team in Ireland.
They are.
What's more, their mantra and their culture is the same mantra as culture as Munster used to have, and Munster were being successful, is playing with the chip on the shoulder, not caring, just going out, not giving up, being ignorant, being in teams' faces. Yeah. I think
they have a plan, James, is the main thing.
Yeah,
and they're sticking to it.
Yeah.
I disagree with you on the second team in Ireland. I'd say it's Leinster A's and then Leinster B's and then Ulster maybe.
No, Johnny.
Second province.
Munster fans will love that one.
Look, I think just on Munster, like, I think people have given up questioning the Munster coaches. They're questioning the Munster players now this week, and I think just the quality of player they have. You were saying Johnny.
The coach can't always be wrong.
No. Yeah. There's a great coaching ticket. They wanted this coaching ticket. They went out, they threw the cash to get Mike Prendergast back, to get Leamy back, to get all of these guys back into Limerick. And they haven't won a competitive game, nor they haven't won a preseason game this year. That's 0 from 4. They have I think the Munster players have an awful lot of looking to do with themselves now.
Yeah, there's a lot of criticism obviously coming from Donnacha O'Callaghan and ex-Irish internationals and Munster players.
Yeah,
it's warranted as well.
Like Bernard Jackman spoke an awful lot of sense this week. You know, he was saying it against the head, like the basic skill set of some professional players was just appalling in the last 2 games. Like, you know, coaches will coach patterns. They will go through the patterns, they'll make you do X and Y, they'll educate the team in what way they want to play on set piece and that. Once the team cross the white watch, it's on the players. There's no excuse for professional players whose skill set has been that bad in the last 2 games. No excuse whatsoever. Like,
my worry
for any professional outfit to that poor skill set.
My worry is they're playing Zebre this weekend, and Zebre gave Leinster a little old tickle there a few weeks ago. If a Zebre got any confidence out of that and can apply to Munster, it could be another embarrassing weekend for Munster. Hopefully not, but like they nearly had Leinster beaten.
I don't think Zebre need any confidence from that Leinster performance. I think they always play with confidence. To be honest with you, I think they're actually a very confident team given their ability. They back themselves a lot, and they will go. It's in Thomond Park, isn't it?
No, it's in Musgrave.
It's in Munster, yeah.
Home match anyway.
Yeah, they'll go there and they'll be looking to get a slap at some Irish province, you know. So,
but then again, there's nothing worse than a Munster with a chip on their shoulder as well, and to have that chip on their shoulder now, the whole country, all of the pundits are out against them this week.
The only problem is if they get a win against Zebre, does it kind of throw smoke and mirrors in front of the problems because now they're going to win.
That happens.
I think this coaching ticket needs a season. I think next season we can judge Munster. I don't think we can judge them. I don't think we can judge them right now. I think we have to wait till next season.
Yeah,
because I think they have a big task on their hands. They're trying to change a culture. They're trying to change a rugby platform. They're trying to change everything.
I was having that conversation
to back Jackman. That's what Jackman has been saying.
Yeah,
you know. And I think I'll be clearly.
They need time.
You know, they need time. This weekend I won't be looking at Bernard Jackman because we're playing against Bective, but his analysis is always spot on in my mind, and he's right when saying these coaches need time.
Yeah, I spoke to a Kerry man there during the week about the whole Munster thing. Obviously, he's a big out-and-out Munster fan, rugby fan, all that sort of stuff, has been for years. But he said there's still too much pressure on themselves and from the outside for wins. And then they start talking about silverware this year and all that. Even, you know, downplaying the URC, going, well, they have to at least win the URC, you know, to give themselves some sort of a measure. But I'm like, no, his attitude is leave them alone, let them build. You have to pay. You have to.
I would agree with that. Like, there's pressure on them. They're paid professionals.
Oh yeah, no, but
like,
pressure to win stuff. I don't think it's realistic. It can be counterproductive.
Like, like, are you getting your bang for your buck there if you're a Munster sponsor?
Yeah.
Like if you're someone who's funding that or donating to that or whatever, or following it all your life, are you getting your bang for buck with the quality player they have? No. So like they're paid professionals. Like you can't say it's too much pressure on them. You walk into your job in the morning, Stephen, you don't do a good job this weekend, you don't do a good job next weekend, you don't do a good job the weekend after, you mightn't have a job. They've got enough backing now for the last couple of years. They need a harsh look at themselves.
Probably phrased it wrong. I said they need to wind in their it's not such pressure. I think their aim.
They need to be realistic in their aims, like
maybe so. They need to know their standards.
I think an awful lot of Munster supporters, myself included, the benchmark is still 2006 and 8. Time has moved on.
Exactly, that's my point.
It's time to get over that. The last bit of silverware they won was 2012. That's 10 seasons ago.
11
actually, so it's time for them now to realise, and for all Munster supporters to realise that they don't have a divine right to win anymore. That's been proven season in, season out for the last 10, 11 years. They've gone through various different coaching tickets, from Rob Penny to Razzie Erasmus, to Anthony Foley, to Johan van Grand. They're on their fourth or fifth coaching ticket now and zero success.
Yeah, and they spent a lot of money on duds as well.
They spent a lot of money on duds, but don't forget they also spent a lot of money on successful players. They brought over R.G. Snyman. Due respects to him, he's been injured for 2 years. They're still holding on to him. Now, Roundtree comes out today and says he's still out for the foreseeable future. They brought in Damien Diolande, who was quite possibly, probably the best, himself and Laconia Amber, probably the two best performing centres in the world at the moment, realistically. Sure, they didn't get any real benefit out of him, did they? He scored a few tries, he did well. They could have built a team around him, they didn't. I just look at it, to be honest with you, I think they're serial failures.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's tough going, but fingers crossed to get the win this weekend, and a modest win, we'll call it. One that they take on board, and it's not like Johnny said, smoke and mirrors or smoke screen after that for, they over celebrate the small or the victories over the weaker team, so to speak. You can't get too excited over that stuff.
But not even a victory, like a performance against Zebre would be good. A performance against Leinster would be good, but they're not putting in performances. Yeah. They're not delivering performances. Like, they're going and they're 50%, like, realistically. So.
Rads, before we wrap up, we're going to move on to the emerging Ireland team. There it is in front of you on the screen. So it's, unfortunately, our Kieran Frawley didn't go on the tour because he got injured after that Leinster game, so he didn't fly. But what he is making the team, Nathan Doak, Jack Crowley at half backs is, I like. Robert Ballacuna.
That backline is electric, lads.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I think that's a really good backline. Yeah. You probably have the next, in my mind, you have the next Irish halfback combination there.
Yeah.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Crossed my mind today, yeah.
But even the pack, though. Tom Stewart is Irish 20s captain in 2020. Thomas Clarkson, incredible player. Joe McCarthy, very good. Thomas Ahern, I've been raving about him. He's exceptionally good. Mm-hmm. Scott Penny's been in and out involved with the Leinster senior team.
Excellent
Max Deegan as well. Two excellent players. Even going to the bench there, like Brian Deaney's on the bench. Michael McDonald, a good young scrum half. Like, there's some good players there.
And now to leave behind Alex Soroka and a few fellas as well. Other good players that performed well on that Maori, I think it was Maori tour last year as well.
It's a good back row, lads.
Yeah.
It's
very
Tom Ahern, Joe McCarthy. Like I said a few weeks ago, I saw Joe McCarthy training in Folkestone a few weeks ago, or a month ago in Kilkenny. The man is man mountain. Like, he's huge. He has legs that are just massive. Like, he's, but I think it's a really strong team. Like, if you could pick one or two of those and put them into an autumn international squad, some of them guys wouldn't look out of place there,
Yeah, well, Balakoon would look out of place anyway. To be fair to him, he's been thereabouts anyway. But like that pack, you could put any of them into an Interpro or even an international, they wouldn't look out of place.
Like when that squad was announced, Shane Daly was in as a centre. He's there as a full back now, which I questioned at the time. Why was he named as a centre? But you can see him there. He's in the back three. Calvin Ash, Balakoon. Calvin Ash is a lad that has to step up for Munster as well now. But I think it's a very strong side. Be interesting to see Anton Fritsch getting game time to actually see what he's like, because I know very little about him.
Yeah, same. See what the story is. So a good bit of rugby this weekend to look forward to. Between all the stuff going on and the local stuff as well. Lads, thanks a million for joining us on the Knock On. We'll wrap it up there. Tom hopefully will join us next week if he's not still hungover.
Hopefully we have 3 wins Awards next week.
Yeah,
hopefully.
And a Leinster and a Munster and an Ireland. We'll see how we go. So James Blanchfield, Kilkenny Rugby Club, best of luck with your opening at the weekend as well. Your official opening at the club as well. And Johnny as well. Good luck to Tullow this weekend as well. You've, of course, new gym and everything up there as well. So plenty of building and everything else going on. And best of luck with it all, lads. We'll wrap it up there. Talk to you next week, folks.